are you guys? You're good? Well, you got M&Ms, so of course you're good. All right, so before we jump in, I have some fun prizes, but I only have a limited amount. So we're going to do something fun today, okay? I need everybody to stand up. Stand up, stretch. Y'all are a little asleep today. I know it's early. Stretch out. All right, here's how this is going to work. We're going to cut this room in half. And then we're going to do an either or kind of thing, okay? And then you'll see how it works, okay? So first, do you prefer Snickers or Kit Kats? You got 2 seconds to decide. Go, go, go. Snickers or Kit Kats? Snickers or Kit Kats? Snickers or Kit Kats? All right. Everybody that chose Kit Kats, you're wrong. Go sit down. My crew over here. Do you prefer hot weather or cold weather? Hot weather, cold weather. Hot weather, cold weather. Hot weather, cold weather. Making it quick. She grabs the other. Hot weather, cold weather. All right, all my hot weather people, sit down. You're wrong. Cold weather is the superior choice, obviously. All right. Tea or coffee? Tea or coffee? All of you? There's one tea person? Oh, she's going to sit down. You prefer tea? Tea? I am a tea person. Y'all can sit down. Here's our winner. Yes, as some of you guys figured out, all of those things are actually my favorite things. I love Snickers. I love cold weather. I drink tea. Coffee makes me like really jittery and just like my brain goes all the directions and it's not great, guys. But we often do that, don't we, sometimes? Like we want to find the people that are like us. We want to find the people that like are our people that like we agree with, we get along with all the time, that are cool, that make us feel cool. And we value the people that are often like us, don't we? And it's a really natural thing often of like, hey, we want to find people that are like us. We want to have friends that we get along with, that have similar interests. And that's really normal. But it often has a darker side to it as well. If we're not careful, we can often start to exclude people that aren't like us. We can often make it so that we're like, oh no, you don't like tea, so I'm not going to hang out with you. You don't like this thing that I like, so I can't be friends with you. You're not like me, so you have to stay over there. I can't be in connection with you. And when we're so focused on finding people that are like us, we miss out on the beauty of our differences. That we have different preferences, we have different personalities, we have different gifts. And if we're honest, the church as a whole has kind of a bad reputation for doing this. I'm talking Big C church, like global church as a whole, historically has been known for being very exclusive. It's been known for being like, oh no, you don't live up to our standards, so you can't be here. It's been known for being the place where people don't feel comfortable coming with their mess or with their brokenness. They think that the people in the church are like perfect or pretending to be perfect, so they're like, oh no, you have to get yourself together before you can come be with us. That's what the church as a whole has been known for. And I want you guys to think about a time that you weren't invited to a party, but you heard about it, or like your friend right next to you was invited. Just think about it. We don't have to say it out loud. But how did you feel when that happened? Probably not great. Your stomach sinks. Your insecurities kind of rise up. You start being like, man, am I not cool enough? Do they not like me? Am I a loser? Like your insecurities and your like doubts start to creep in and you start to kind of spiral if you're not careful. But what if there was a better way? What if there was a way that God calls us to that was better than how we have done it? That is better than the just exclusive, I'm going to hang out with my people, you hang out with your people, we don't have to interact. Let's read a story from Jesus' life that can help us understand this better. So in Matthew 9, 9 through 13, it says, as Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax collector's booth. Follow me, he told him. And Matthew got up and followed him. While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? So let's pause there for a second because I want to give you guys some context. So the book that we're reading is named Matthew because Matthew was the author of it. And now Matthew, we're seeing his first interaction with Jesus. Jesus is walking along and he sees Matthew, who's a tax collector. And now if you don't know, a tax collector was not anybody's favorite person back in that day. They were considered like social traitors because they would collect the taxes from the Jewish people and give it to the Romans who were ruling over them and oppressing them. And so in addition to that, actually, they would also sometimes cheat the people. So they'd be like, okay, here's how much the Romans are wanting for taxes. I'm going to raise that and make you pay this much, and then I'll just pocket the difference. So if you owed $10 in taxes, the tax collector would be like, you actually owe 15. And then they'll give the Romans the 10, and then they'll just keep the 5 for themselves. So they were nobody's favorite person because they were just cheating people and like just not great people to be around, and nobody liked them. But Jesus comes up and he says, follow me to Matthew. And he ends up going to Matthew's house, hanging out with Matthew's friends. And what it says is it says that he hangs out with tax collectors and sinners. And now that reference to sinners is often the people that nobody wanted to hang out with. It could be criminals, it could be prostitutes, it could be so many different things, but they were sinners. They were social outcasts. They were people that nobody that considered themselves in a relationship with God or considered themselves righteous would want to hang out with because they would be afraid that their badness would rub off on them. So Jesus is having dinner with these people. He's eating with them, and these religious elites, these Pharisees, they're like the super uber religious people of that time, are looking at him. They're kind of scratching their head. They're like, why is this teacher who's supposed to be a holy man hanging out with people like that? Why is he hanging out with people that are so different from him? Why is he hanging out with people that nobody else wants to? And let's see what Jesus, how he answers that question. It says, on hearing this, Jesus said, it is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. Now, for the past few weeks, we have been talking about the values of Real Life Church, why we believe that they're important to God, and why that therefore makes them important to us. And today we're going to talk about the value of uncommon hospitality. Now, when I say the word hospitality, what comes to mind? You can just shout it out. What comes to mind when I say hospitality? Do you guys know? Hospital, okay. Disneyland, okay. Happiness, empathetic, okay. Anything from over here, the boys? Welcome, I like that, yeah. Any others? Caring, yeah. When I think of the word hospitality, Cash, you got one? Last one? That song, I love it. Yeah, when I think of the word hospitality, usually it's a very warm, inviting thing. It's think of your friend that whenever you go over to your house, you just feel at ease. They make you feel so welcome, so cared about. Like you don't have to put on any kind of like fake face. You don't have to try to be something you're not. You can just breathe. And they treat you more like family than they do just like a friend or a stranger coming into their home. They make you feel comfortable and welcomed. That's what I think of when I think of hospitality. Hospitality is that nature of inviting people in and helping them to feel valued and loved and known and cared about. And Jesus is living out hospitality in this story. He's living it out by doing life with people. He says, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Jesus is saying, hey guys, you're missing the point of what God is wanting. The Pharisees are like, why would you hang out with them? He's like, you're missing it. You're missing what God is saying. When he quotes that phrase, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, he's actually quoting an older book in the Bible called Hosea, where God is talking about that He desires a heart that looks like his, a heart that cares about the things that he cares about more than sacrifices. Before Jesus died, they would kill animals, sacrifice animals in order to cover their sins. And so God is saying, like, I would rather you care about what I care about and care about the people that I care about than just do and say the right thing. Just say the right thing and pretend you're all put together and buttoned up. I would rather it's about the heart. I care about where your heart is, and I want you to care about the things that I care about. And I care about people. We love others. We are called to love others because God first loved us. When we recognize that Jesus died for us, that he died for us because he loves us and wants to be in relationship with us, that changes our relationship with other people. We can't be anymore in the like, oh, you're that, I'm this, so we're going to just stay separate. We can't do that anymore because Jesus calls us to better. He calls us to more because he's like, no, but they're my child too. I care about them just as much as I care about you. And so it can't be an us versus them. It's just us. We are all children of God. And Jesus is living out this hospitality by doing life with people. He's not just like, oh, I'll see you in the public. I'll see you when I'm out preaching. And then in private, like, nah, I'm kind of like, y'all can stay over there, stay out. No, he's doing life with people. He's eating dinner with them. He's spending time with them. Jesus constantly seeked out people that were broken and hurting and needed hope. Constantly. Those are the people that he spent the most of his time with. The most time that Jesus spent was always with people that were hurting, that were broken, that needed help and needed hope, that were not the perfect, all put together kind of person. And those are the people he called friends. And he's calling us to do the same thing. An author and professor named Rosaria Butterfield said she said it really well in a book that she wrote that's called The Gospel Comes with a House Key. She says, radically ordinary hospitality. Those who live it see strangers as neighbors and neighbors as family of God. They recoil at reducing a person to a category or a label. They see God's image reflected in the eyes of every human being on earth. Those who live out the radically ordinary hospitality see their homes not as theirs at all, but as God's gift to use for the furtherance of his kingdom. They open doors. They seek out the underprivileged. They know that the gospel comes with a house key. We are called to love others because God first loved us. We don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be a perfect person to begin living this out. Sometimes it's not about going out and like preaching at people, but inviting people into our lives and in to see sometimes the messy bits and be like, I'm a mess, but Jesus is better. Jesus is the reason I can have hope and have joy in the midst of my messy life. Sometimes it's about inviting people into our lives and into our homes, into our church. Guys, you're the ones here, but there is a lot of people that don't know Jesus out there in your schools, in your clubs, in all the sports that you play. There are people that don't know the joy and the hope that Jesus can give. So I have a couple questions for you today. And the first one is this: have you accepted the invitation of Jesus? When Jesus saw Matthew, he said, "Come follow me." And he's giving us that same invitation today. He says, "Come follow me." Have you accepted the invitation of Jesus? Because if you haven't, that is your starting point. That is the first thing you got to do. That is the point that it will change the rest of your life. Because now you don't have to do it alone. Jesus isn't afraid of any kind of mess, any kind of hurts. He just says, "Come follow me. Let me in. Let me into the mess. Let me into the hurts." And the second question is, who is God calling you to invite today? Who is God calling you to invite today? In Matthew 28, right before Jesus goes back up to heaven, he's already died, he rose again, he's about to head up, he's talking to his disciples, and he tells them this. He says, "Go and make disciples of all nations." baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and the Holy Spirit. He says, go. And this isn't just a command for those of Jesus' day, for the disciples he was talking to. And it's not just a command for the adults that are over in the auditorium over there. It's a command that he gives to anybody that has accepted the invitation of him in their lives, accepted the forgiveness that he offers. He says to go and make disciples, to go invite people in, because you know the hope of Jesus, to go invite others in. So who is God calling you to invite today? I have some of these out there. I forgot to bring them in, but I'll give them to your small group leaders. So small group leaders, make sure we grab them. This is room for one more. And what I want you to do is, as you're praying through, who is that one person that God is putting on your heart right now? This week, who is that person that God is calling you to invite? Maybe to invite back to church next week, to invite in to start talking about your relationship with Jesus. Who is that one person? We're going to give you one of these. They're one of those stickers that you can put on your water bottle or put on your laptop or anything like that. And you can write their name right here. And it's a reminder to be to remember that Jesus has called us to go. He's called us to invite people in. He's called us to show uncommon hospitality to people that maybe we wouldn't normally. Maybe there's someone in your class that you're like, man, I really do not like that person. Maybe that's the person that God is calling you to right now. And they feel other than you, they feel different than you, but maybe that's the person that God is calling you to show his love to. We're going to talk about it more in small groups, but I'm going to pray for you guys real quick. Hey, Jesus, thank you so much for today. Thank you for the fact that you don't cast us off. You don't think that we have to make it perfectly in order to be in relationship with you, that you come in right where we're at. God, I just ask that you give each one of these students courage to show up in the lives of those around them, to invite someone this week into relationship or into getting to know you better. And I just ask that you give them the courage to speak out and be honest and real about their relationship with you. In Jesus' name, amen.